Hello there, I'm Katie and welcome to another episode of the Leadership Lounge, where each week I give you a fresh take on your role as a resourceful healthcare leader. The lounge is a place to take a moment to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to get some ideas and inspiration to be ready for whatever the week is going to throw at you this time. So this week I'm talking about that struggle of not having enough. It's tough right now in healthcare, and the not enough framing is what's coming up in a lot of conversations I'm having with people, and there's not enough time. There's not enough time to do anything. I haven't got enough time to do all this work I'm supposed to do. There's not enough money, so it's about financial restraints and cuts and job cuts and thinking about how do we do things differently. Not enough money in the system. There's not enough resources. I can't get the stuff I need to do to be able to do the job. There's not enough resources. It's making it really hard to do my job. There's not enough people. I haven't got the staff that I need to have to be able to deliver what I'm supposed to be delivering. I've not got enough support. I've got new teams, I've got new leaders, and there's not the capacity or the support there that's going to help them do their job. We've got existing teams that are looking for help, and there's just not enough out there. There's not enough joy. There's not enough laughing or fun. We've got so busy, we got so caught up in what we're trying to do that it's really hard to take a moment to just have a laugh or to create a moment of connection. So this not enough can be really evasive, and it can filter into every part of your day. And even if your problem is I haven't got enough of X, the not enough mentality starts to take over. And it creates this sense and this mindset of scarcity. And it's a feeling of limitation, of being limited. So scarcity is that voice of never enough. We've not got enough. Now, the trouble with that feeling is that it can start to evade into how you think about yourself. It can become quite personal, and you can start saying, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, I'm not good enough. And then you get stuck in this loop. And that cycle, that loop that you can get stuck in is one based on fear. And now that's a kind of a normal response. So I just kind of want to say that's normal, and it's how we've survived as a human race. This idea of knowing whether something is safe or whether something we should be scared of or fearful of. So not having enough of something, it's okay to be fearful of. But the trouble with it is that it leads to a great deal of anxiety. It leads to how you're thinking about things on a broader scale, and that can influence your choices, and that then influences the outcomes, and then you're stuck in this cycle, because then you're making choices that mean that you don't actually solve problems, and then you're stuck back in the I've not got enough, and you get stuck there. So this focus on limitation and means that you're thinking small. You're all about cost control. How can I do things smaller? You're not focusing on the long-term outcomes. You're just like, let's just get through today. You're not thinking bigger at all. And it can also lead to this sense of competition. Because like I said, when it becomes about fear, it becomes a very personal reaction. And that, like I said, is normal. But one of those things we do in those moments then when we're about, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I've not got enough, we don't have enough here, it becomes about how much you can hang on to. So your focus becomes on competition. And that in order to look good, I need to succeed, other people need to not look good, other people to not have enough. And it brings up this idea of there's not enough pie. Now, this idea of thinking about things in a state of a pie comes from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and I will pop the link to this particular habit This think win-win was his habit that highly effective people develop. But it was this idea that you're comparing a scarcity mindset to the belief that life is limited with only so much to go around, hence the idea of pie. So you end up fighting for your bit of the pie, and you better make it a big bit of the pie, right? Because you don't know when you're going to get back to the table. So let's take the bigger pie I can possibly take. And equally, if somebody else is at the table and taking a big bit of pie, then that means that there's even less for you. So this instantly has become about competition. So not only are you in this state where you're not thinking long term, you're not thinking solution, you're not looking out for different ways you can solve problems, you're now becoming very defensive, and you're driving a wedge between you and any connection with other people because it's become about competition. And hold on, if I'm talking to her, does that mean that there's not enough? That there's not enough? I need this attention, I need this to look good. So Stephen Covey talks in this idea of win-win around being in cooperation, not competition, and the fact that there is enough to go around. But it's about a mindset. It's not that's what makes the difference. It's a mindset. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I think I need to talk a bit more about, go back to that idea of connections, because there is so much in the world of healthcare that is based upon our relationships. And so if you're in this idea of I need to have this big bit of the pie, or I need to look good, or feeling in that fear and anxiety state, the other things that you can get in that place are that it can be hard to be happy for other people who are succeeding. You can be constantly comparing yourself to, or your worth to, others. And if someone's getting something or doing something, you think that there's nothing there for you, or that you're not going to be able to get something. Our idea of what success is for us gets completely blown out of the way. And it also becomes really difficult to share anything. So our level of generosity and service can also diminish. So while we're not getting up and going into work with the idea to do all these things, these are the subconscious things that come out of having that scarcity mindset. So when he's talking about this win-win scenario, that's about this how do you get in cooperation with people, not this competition state. And it's shifting to that abundance mindset. That's what he starts talking about. Now, this comes up in a number of writers. So Brené Brown also talks about it. Simon Sinek talks about it in their various different ways. And so with an abundance mindset, you can think big. You can embrace risk. You can have a long-term focus. You can be willing to share knowledge. You can trust the process. You can learn from others. And you can focus on the person that you are serving. It doesn't become internal. It's not all about you. It becomes about the person you're serving, whether that be a patient, a client, an employee. You can focus on others rather than yourself. And I think if we think about what we're trying to achieve in healthcare right now, those are the attributes that we need. The attributes that come with an abundance mindset are going to be the things that we need in order to transform healthcare. Now, the other tool in this kind of picture I'm hoping to describe here is this idea of resourcefulness. So, idea that when you don't have enough, there can be some good in that. There can be some opportunity in that. I do get a bit renowned or have a reputation for saying, where's the opportunity here? And it can get a bit trite, but bear with me. So Scott Sonnenschein, I'm sure there's books about it, but where I've accessed this is through an online course through Acumen Academy. I rave about Acumen Academy as a place to go for training, free, and on a wide range of topics, and phenomenal. Now, I have only half done this course, and so this month I've been doing quite a lot of writing on this topic of abundance and scarcity, and so it reminded me of the course, and I thought I need to go back and do it. So Acumen Academy, Scott Sun and Shine on resourcefulness. And some of the tips I've already got from it is this idea of, okay, what have we got? What is there? This idea of shop your closet. I tend to do this predominantly when I'm in the garden and I can't afford to go out and buy any more plants because they are so expensive, or bits of rock or paving stones or pots. And I will think, okay, what have I got? What can I create? And it becomes quite fun to have a look around, rummaging around in the garden. So it's that idea. What have I got? How do I shop the closet? And the other challenge he gives you is this, okay, what if you had, say let's take, I haven't got enough time and I haven't got enough time to complete this piece of work. He challenges you to go, okay, what if you had even less time? Say you've assigned yourself 2 hours to get this piece of work done, and then 20 people come into the office and you've got a phone call and your boss wants you to do something else as well. What's going to go in that project? So if you can preempt that, what if you only had 10 minutes to finish that bit of work? What would that look like? What would you do differently if you had a lot less time? Or what would you do if you had 3 weeks to do it? What would you do differently then? And he's not asking you to do either of those things. He's just asking you to think differently about the problem that you've got and where your scarcity is. Have a think about it differently. So he gives you a whole lot of different prompts. So I will go back and I will finish the course and I'll pop a link in the show notes, but highly recommend it. So this is a different way of thinking about when we're stuck in a space of not enough. What's our resourcefulness? So addressing scarcity though, and if we think about our mindset towards it, and Scott Sunshine is kind of leading you into this space of the fact that and this is a quote from Brené Brown, addressing scarcity doesn't mean seeking for abundance, but rather choosing a mindset of sufficiency. Sufficiency isn't an amount at all, and it's an experience. It's a context we generate, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough and we are enough. So the opposite of scarcity isn't a whole load of stuff being given to you. It is this attitude, and it is this experience, and it is this belief. And the way you get to that, the way you break this cycle of that loop, that negative feedback loop that scarcity sits in the middle of, is through gratitude. Now, if you've rolled your eyes right now, okay, I'm with you, that's okay, because it can kind of be like we're having this gratitude shoved down our throats, or it's kind of in alignment with the toxic positivity, and that you're ignoring all the terrible things. So if there is not enough resources, not enough staff, not enough beds, and you've got real issues, it's not about ignoring all those things. Okay, so I need to be really, really clear about that. Gratitude is not about ignoring those things. But it becomes about your mindset, which gives you a different attitude and a different approach. So my story in regards to attitude is that a few months into running my own business, I had no idea how I was actually going to carry on paying the rent, and it was a very awful, dark place. Where's the money coming from? And I almost started chasing the money, which really didn't lead to any good choices, didn't lead to any extra business, any business, in fact, any work coming in. And it just made me a different person, and it wasn't helpful. Going back to a practice of gratitude, amping up the practice of gratitude, changed it completely. And now when I get to those months, because they still occur, where it's like, how am I going to pay the rent? Where's the money gone? I know it's time to amp up the gratitude, but equally I can kind of go, okay, there'll be this. I stop chasing the negative outcomes around stuff. So there's a lot to do in gratitude. There's a lot of different ways that you can practice. It can be the simple task of, what are 3 good things that have happened today? Or asking yourself, what has made you smile today? Or stopping and listing all the things that you're grateful for. It's a lot in gratitude about noticing. It's a lot about the power of the small things. I've been writing about gratitude in the last couple of I'm No Jedi emails because there are some really powerful lessons in what gratitude can give you. I've developed a fabulous gratitude workbook, and so you'll be able to download in the show notes. You'll be able to download a free copy of this workbook, and it takes you through that idea of how does gratitude move you from scarcity to this mindset of abundance, why that matters, and then gives you a whole load of different ways that you can practice gratitude, and how you can then develop that as a habit that you put into practice on a daily and weekly and monthly basis. So there's a few different elements within the workbook, whether it be a little bit of a challenge, whether it be about writing lists, whether it be about having more of a reflective approach to it. So within the workbook, you can test these things out and you'll find the thing that suits you best. Equally, I also know there's a whole lot of different apps in that, but I do like analog every now and again and bits of paper. But I can hear you saying, that does sound like a silly thing to say, but how on earth then, okay, so I'm feeling gratitude, I've got this mindset, whatever, I still don't have the beds I need for the patients that are coming in today. How does this solve my problem? Well, it doesn't. However, what it does do is allow you to create the environment and the mindset for you to actively solve the problem in collaboration with other people. Because the problems that we are facing in healthcare, not enough time, not enough beds, not enough staff, not enough resources, are not going to be fixed by one person alone. So we have to be able to create that environment. And if we have gone into that defensive, blocking connection with other people place, then we're never going to get these things fixed. So it is about being less anxious. It's about being open to ideas, listening to other people, learning from other people. And it's about realising that, yeah, we can put some things in place for today, but what about some longer term things? What could we do differently? It's creating a space to maybe take a bit of a risk, trying something new, trying something different. Because to be honest, the problem of I don't have enough beds has been around for a while. And if it were an easy problem or if it was solvable, we would have solved this by now. Okay, so this is a difficult problem to solve because there are smart people out there working in healthcare every day trying to resolve this problem. So that mindset, the abundance mindset that gratitude can help you step into, makes it possible to resolve these things. Now, gratitude also has a whole lot of heap of other benefits to do with your wellness. So you'll sleep better, you'll be happier, you'll be more resilient to stress. You're going to boost your productivity. You are going to be more collaborative. People work harder for a grateful boss. There's also some research that suggests that you are more trusted as a leader if you are demonstrating gratitude. And to be fair, I do tend to go on about it, and it's probably one of the things I've written about the most. Potentially because each year I make a point of acknowledging and celebrating along with the Grateful in April campaign. Again, I'll pop a link to that in the show notes. This Grateful in April campaign comes along every year, and it just reminds you of the simplicity of how you can practice gratitude, but also the benefits of practicing gratitude. And it just allows me to refocus and to reframe the messaging for people that are leading in healthcare. And I said I write about it quite a lot in my weekly email. And next week's email, I'm going to be talking about sharing some really practical ways to bring elements of gratitude and appreciation into your day. Now, when I say practical, I mean you have got no time. How on earth can I possibly take on anything else? These are ideas that you can do if you are sitting with that kind of feeling of I haven't got time to take on anything else. I haven't got time to do anything else or put anything else into my day. These are not those things. These are things that are a couple of minutes that you just shift how you're doing what you're already doing. So they're really simple. I've been there and I know how overwhelming those jobs can feel. And so when I'm sharing tips and ideas, I'm doing it from that space. So you can sign up for that email that will be coming out next week at www.katiequinney.com/subscribe for some really practical ways to bring elements of gratitude and appreciation into your day, for you and for your team. So, I followed my notes this time. I've managed to talk for longer than before. Could be because it is one of those topics that I do think is important and does flow from this space of I don't have enough, which is a really common struggle on a number of different levels with it for leaders in healthcare, that burden that you're carrying. But pulling apart that it creates that mindset of scarcity, and that very easily you can get into this negative loop of anxiety and fear, and that decreases collaboration, decreases connection with other people, and decreases your ability to focus on anything else. So everything else suffers. But there is this potential for a win-win. There is potential for shifting that, and that gratitude is the way that we can do that, because it allows you to be calmer, to make wise choices, to see the big picture, and that you can work in collaboration, not in competition. So gratitude is the way. You can download the free workbook from the show notes. You can find out more about the work that I do at katiequinney.com. I'd love to hear from you. Love for you to sign up for the email that you can do at /subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. Take care and see you next week in the Leadership Lounge.